Tip-off Thursday edition, Thursday, August 6th. We are live, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, as we are each and every weekday here on WagerTalk TV, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, live for NBA Tip-off. And we will take a look at each and every NBA game in depth today. We also recap last night's in-game wagers. The Hedgehog had a 2-0 hedge with the Washington Wizards. It worked out for him. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll also have some fun at the end of the show if we have time permitting to maybe get to some more in-game Saul Bucks, Wager Talk, Wager Bucks, whatever you want to call them, in-game wagering. But first, the order's kind of random every day. It's however I pop you guys up on the screen, and we could have some trouble today because Teddy and Tony are next to each other in the Hollywood Squares format. But, Teddy, you're technically, I guess, the center square today, so I'll start with you. How'd you do yesterday on Wednesday, and what were your takes on the games?
I wasn't thrilled with yesterday. The only play for the clients that I had was the San Antonio Spurs, who were there, and then they weren't. Heck of a three-point shooting performance from both Joker and Michael Porter Jr. down the stretch of that game made a big difference in the end result. So it was disappointing. I did have a free play on the Celtics that was, easy. But it's really frustrating when you lose the coin flip and you win the free play. I'd have rather had it the other way around. And
as you know, Teddy, you've been in this a long time like me and Tony Fenn, process is more important than the results sometimes is how you look at it.
No.
And, not for you? Oh, my goodness. Come on.
No, definitely not. I mean,
no, that's not true. You'd rather have the game handicapped correctly long term. You know that.
On any given day, I would rather be a lucky winner than a right side loser. On any bet, you ask me. I'd rather be dead wrong and sneak one in at the buzzer than be totally right and lose at the end.
My line is this. If people say they wish me luck, I say I can only be unlucky because I'm always right.
Well, and Tony, I'll throw it to you. I think you make your own luck in life long term. And
yes.
Once again, I know what Teddy's saying, but he knows what I'm saying as well. That he wouldn't be on the show right now if he was just playing on luck the last 20 plus years. Yeah, hey, look, we all want to win, and it is frustrating for me. I talked about it yesterday. I mean, the game I leave off my card, my last cut is the one I care about the most because I'm rooting against that damn team so hard each and every day. So there's a lot of emotional human nature involved. Tony, how'd you do yesterday on Wednesday?
I won my basketball, my NBA. It was a game that we talked about late. I got a call on some information. It was this subtle information, really minuscule compared to information I had in the past. It made me get on Toronto minus 7.5, and of course, they made me sweat a little bit there at the end. But it was a cover, so it was my only NBA, and I split my baseball. So 2 in 1 day, I'll take it every day.
And by the way, Jeff just mentioned everyone needs to get a week package, and I don't disagree. Remember, once again, that promo is still going on, guys. Week 69, WEEK 69. Week 69 gets you 7 days all sports from each and every capper that you want for a full 7 days. WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com. Ski Profit, how'd you do yesterday on Wednesday?
WNBA, I had 3 plays, and I went 2 and 1. And NBA, I had a loser, but I can't remember which one it was.
Hey man, I'll tell you what, Ski.
That's a good way to live.
It's exactly right. I mean, you'll do well in this business because as Teddy and I and Tony were just talking about, the emotional mindset is so important, man. Set it and forget it and move on. And I always tell people, hey, I watch a lot of games to get information, especially in the bubble here. We've been talking about that. But other than that, there's no need to watch and root for a game. It'll take years off your life, and that's why, Ski, you look 20 years younger than all of us.
And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it was that CLV loser on the Magic, or not the Magic, the first game of the day, the Grizzlies.
Oh yeah, Utah, and the Jazz game. We talked about that a little bit here on the show. And by the way, guys, we do have one game I believe in progress. Let me take a updated look at that. We do have the Kings right now up by 7 on the Pelicans. Pelicans were a 4.5 point favorite. So once again, Rob Vino, looks like a team that's going to win straight up is going to cover. We have an outdog winner once again in the daytime game. Any thoughts on that, and how'd you do yesterday?
Yeah, I saw you updated the post yesterday, Steve. It was up to 30-4, just picking the winner. I had 3-0 day yesterday. I'm very, very happy. Had the Denver side, got there. Had the Toronto side, got there, and closed it out with probably the easiest of all, the Boston-Brooklyn over. Wound up, 264, whatever they hit was pretty easy fourth quarter. The graveyard for overs was not open for that game as they poured in a whole batch of points in the fourth. So, 3-0 yesterday. Real good day. Look forward to pushing on today.
Yeah, and by the way, I got to give Teddy Covers props for that stat coming in yesterday. Teddy, you mentioned that the straight-up winner was 27-3 against the spread. And the reason I updated is because Ski, mid-major Matt Joseph, Ski, and I had a little Twitter thread going about the Sixers once again winning but not covering. And it occurred to me, I, of course, had them a few days ago when they won and failed to cover. So I knew right away that they were two of those. And I updated it on Twitter, and it was actually 29-4. I accidentally put 30-4, but the Thunder game was in progress, and they were winning outright. So I had a little bit of foreshadowing, I guess, in my prediction there. So it turned out correct an hour later when the Thunder won outright. So, yeah, 30-4 after that third game of the day yesterday. Teddy, your thoughts on that going forward? And do you have anything here in this early game between the Pelicans and the Kings?
Well, I got it on the screen over here, but I'm not allowed to watch. You got to glance when you're on air. You can't be fully sweating games. I had a little opinion on the over in this one. I'm not sweating it. The overs, it was for sometimes the fourth quarters where over goes to die. This one I think is safe for not dying in the fourth. There was by the end of the first quarter, the pace has been there throughout. The offensive execution has been there throughout, but it's not a client play, So I lean towards the over. It's great, but my leans are doing just fine. But I don't have any money in it.
And that's the thing, Teddy, that you always have to separate. Just because, we have a playoff for clients, we like that game, obviously. We don't put plays out for clients we don't like, but there's also games sometimes you can't get out in time. This is an early tip-off. It was 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. We talked about those money line underdog parlays the other day. You have a separate bankroll set aside. Kind of hard to release 47-1 two-team parlays to clients long-term. It's just there's some finesses to the industry here where we can't give everything, but that's why a show like this, viewers, you're going to get some information here. You're going to get some information that might help you with a best bet winner, and we might not necessarily have it on the website or have it released. So lots of information still to give out. Tony Finn, anything on this daytime game? I know you love in-game wagering.
I don't have anything on it, and I have to be honest, I've been chatting with the experts here before the show, and I wasn't paying attention, so I apologize. But I'm paying attention now, so I'll give you any updates I might have.
Sounds good. Ski, anything on this end game here, this early tip-off we had today? Right now I'm seeing the Kings up by 9 with about halfway through the third quarter. They were a 4-point dog coming in. Teddy mentioned he liked the over, 233 up to 235. I mentioned last week the Kings were a pure play over for me. I actually had them that first game. Was it against the Spurs, I believe, and was one of the best bet winners I had. I've yet to see anything that changes my mind there. What are your thoughts, Ski, on Pelicans Kings?
It's tough for me because I didn't get a chance to watch any part of this game with the blackout. But I did like the Pelicans. Pelicans, once that I was looking at, when they're favored between 4 and 11, they've covered the last 10. So I was looking at the Pelicans. I think that they should come back and win.
So you would like them maybe on a little in-game here. The halfway through the third, they're down by 6 right now. Would you maybe take a look at them at the prices right, Ski, on the in-game?
I would want to be watching the game to know what's going on, honestly. Teddy probably can tell you more than me.
Yeah, Teddy, I'll throw it to you. What do you think?
Just in game right now, I'm seeing Kings minus 4.5 total in the 267 range.
I'm going to ask you a question. Is it accurate are they playing Zion? Are they still limiting his minutes? I'm looking at the box score and showing that of the players, I don't think his minutes are accurate, but they can't be accurate. But is he playing that? Is he that limited right now still?
No, he played down the stretch of the last game, and after the game, all the quotes were about how both from him and from his teammates about how excited they were to have Zion back on the floor during crunch time.
That was the impression I got.
He's not up to 35. He's not up to 35 minutes yet or anything like that, but he is playing down the stretch.
Okay.
And it's going to be interesting, guys, as we get to some of these games coming up today. I actually am going to pass today in the NBA. By the way, viewers, I had a best bet winner again in the NBA last night. I had the under, guys. I know, Rob, you mentioned the under in that Laker game. Ski, you mentioned it as well here in the show. That was my best bet on WagerTalk.com yesterday for my paid clients. So we had a lot of consensus on that, a fairly easy under winner in Lakers and Thunder. But I had a lot of concern today, guys. A lot of guys sitting out, a lot of uncertainty with the mindset of these teams. So I'm actually passing. But I do want to mention I have a 4 p.m. Eastern baseball play, which goes here in about an hour. So right as we get off the show, it's going to go. So anybody that would like my top best bet today at WagerTalk.com, I do have a baseball best bet at 4 Eastern, but I'm going to pass in the NBA. And as we go around the horn here, I'm going to ask you guys each what you have today. And also we're going to take a look at the first game on the rotation here, which goes in about an hour. Let's take a look first at Pacers-Suns. Once again, I was concerned with Indiana's motivation coming into the whole bubble. Phoenix Suns for Ski Profit have been getting it done so far. but a little concerned about their motivation today. Teddy, what do you have going for Thursday at WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com? And I'll let you start off as well with Pacers Suns.
Sure. I got a pair of plays, both in the NBA games that we're going to be talking about right here. I actually passed an MLB for today. Nothing jumped off the card to me in baseball. When it comes to Pacers Suns, look, fascinating matchup when you're talking about TJ Warren going up against former teammate Devin Booker, who you can make an argument that two breakout players of the bubble, and of course, two teams that have – Phoenix has certainly overachieved. Indiana feels a little bit like they've overachieved. But, the Pacers have been a pretty strong bet-on team for me all year. The money's coming for the Suns. I'll just put it this way, not my money. Only one of these two teams. And we're talking about conceptually. I want teams that are playing defense. If I'm laying points, I want a team that can play defense. Well, Indiana certainly fits into that category. And you also want a little bit of something else if you're laying, because it has been a dog run here in the bubble so far. You want a clear, some type of motivation. I don't know if we have that for the Pacers necessarily, but then again, the price, fairly cheap to lay with a superior team.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing the Pacers about a 1.5-point favorite. It was as high as 3 when it opened, so the line has come down a bit towards the Suns. So basically, it'd be hard to imagine that you don't pick the straight-up winner once again here and get the point spread winner as well. Tony, Finn, what are your thoughts on this? Phoenix was pretty much dead coming into the bubble here, but now they're just 2.5 games behind Memphis for the 8th spot. They've gone 3-0, Memphis 0-4, and that's why they're closing the gap. But they're going to have to keep winning. Tony, what do you have today first at WagerTalk.com, and do you think the Suns can keep winning?
First off, I do have 2 baseballs. I actually have 3 baseballs. The free play that I released is also a client play. Every once in a while I will do such, but it's an early game, so it's an afternoon game. Then I have 2 night games on the diamond, and I have 1 in the bubble. So 2 baseball, 1 NBA.
Nice 3-pack there. I assume this is probably not one of your games, but do you have any thoughts on the Pacers Suns overall?
No, I don't. Not today. Listen, I'm a fan of the Suns. I've been supporting those Suns, especially after the first game. I like the way they played. They showed a lot of what Teddy requires in a team to back, save playing defense. I still don't think they're much of a defensive group. I don't think they're technically very sound, and I don't think that they care too much about that. But they've done a really good job executing their offense, and Devin Booker, as Teddy said, has been great. So in this situation right now, can the Suns hold off the Pelicans? I would bet yes, they could at 195, still a lot of time left, and from what I see in the box score, no foul trouble, and I see minimal minutes by Zion, which again I don't believe the box score. So.
Yeah, well, it's a good point, though. The Pelicans are down by 5 now to the Kings. So, if the Pelicans were to lose that, they'd now be 1-3, and Phoenix would be they'd actually be tied with them. They're a half game behind them right now. So they would be tied with them and the Spurs, basically, half game behind the Spurs, and they'd be tied with the Pelicans. So, yeah, it's wide open. If Phoenix wins today, they're really in the mix here for that 8th seed, which we did not see coming into the bubble a week ago. Ski Profit, what are your thoughts on this game? Pacers right now 1.5-point favorite over Phoenix Suns.
Brogdon is going to be playing in this one. At first, if he wasn't playing, I probably would lean more towards the over, but he plays a good amount of defense for Indiana. It's a tough one. I don't want to step in front of the Suns right now, the way they're playing in this bubble, but I just feel like Indiana is the play. I don't really love it. I would lean towards Indiana.
Yeah, I definitely think we're getting some line value now. As you said, Phoenix coming in, I don't think any of us were in love with them, but the Pacers, we had concerns as well. But, yeah, this line opened 3 now, 1.5. Would have been much higher a week ago. By the way, Ski, do you have anything going today at WagerTalk.com for Thursday?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well in WNBA. I'm 11-4 on the season so far, and I have a best bet tonight and another play on a total in WNBA.
Nice. So 11-4 viewers in the WNBA for Ski Profit. That is exactly 15 more WNBA plays than I've released this year or in the past 20 years, actually, I believe. So it shows, once again, those specializing works. And, hey, man, that's fantastic because I know there's a lot of people out there that play that. And, look, the money is as green whether it's WNBA or NBA. We all know that. And sometimes it's greener because there's probably more of an edge there. Rob Vino, what are you thinking on this early matinee here? This game tips off at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. We got Pacers 1.5. Rob, total's 229-ish against the Suns. A high total once again. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, coming in, guys, with the Sabonis injury, Indiana was forced to change the way they play as far as offensive tempo is concerned. They've been faster. They've been proficient shooting the basketball, not against the best defensive teams in the world, but they've shot 54.8%, 50.5%, and 47.8%. 120, 127, and 111 points racked up in 3 separate games. So Indiana's been good offensively, led by TJ Warren, as one of you guys already pointed out. Heading into this bubble, Steve, Kevin Pritchard, the GM, Nate McMillan, the head coach, told anybody that would listen that Indiana was ready to play. They liked what they saw out of that team. They were ready to play. They've shown it with results so far, but so has Phoenix. I just think Indiana's probably the better team right now because they do have a little bit more defensive acumen than do the Phoenix Suns. If I was going to play, I'd probably lay it. Total, of course, like I just mentioned, the way Indiana's playing at pace right now, you'd probably have to look at over because Phoenix has done nothing but play extremely fast. I think they're one of the 2 fastest tempo teams in the bubble so far. So I'd look that way. As far as things going on at Wager Talk, real quick, couple of NBA games up and available right now. One is going to go within the hour. The other one's a later game. So 2 up right now, and certainly 2 that we'll be talking about.
Great stuff. And that Suns total hasn't moved much. 228.5, 229 is pretty much held steady all day, even though Phoenix can definitely play fast. And by the way, viewers, both these teams are perfect 3-0 straight up so far in the bubble. I believe the Toronto Raptors are 3-0 straight up. They're the only other one that has not lost a game. So there's only 3 teams that are perfect 3-0, and Phoenix and Indiana are 2 of them. So after this game, there will only be 1, minimum 2 teams left in that situation. So that game starts here in about 45 minutes. There's another game that starts in 45 minutes. We're going to get to the Heat and Bucks. First, I want to remind everybody, as Rob said, some strong plays up at WagerTalk.com for himself. Ski's got a WNBA best bet, 11-4 in the season. Tony's got a 3-pack, some baseball and basketball. Teddy's got best bets as well. I'm passing NBA today, but I do have a daytime baseball winner, which goes in about 45 minutes. So once again, be sure to check out WagerTalk.com for all those strong best bets, both daytime and nighttime winners. Rob and I both have best bets that go in about 45 minutes. He's got an NBA one. I've got a baseball one. Everything's available at WagerTalk.com. Now, if you want the single plays, that's great. It's a great way to sample, get a feel for the cappers. But if you want to make serious money, you really should consider a weekly subscription because now is the best time ever to do it. $69 gets you a full 7 days, all sports, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Now, football's not here yet, but it will be soon. But all sports includes everything. And, $69, it's only $119. So that's a $50 discount off the bat, $50 in your pocket right away to build your bankroll. 7 days all sports for $69, but you have to use this promo code WEEK69, WEEK69, WEEK69 at WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com. Get you 7 days all sports. Teddy covers. Let's get to this other daytime game. Miami Heat right now are about a 9.5-point dog to the Bucks. Of course, the Bucks are a 19-point favorite the other day and lost outright. Will they do any better today as a 9.5-point favorite against the Heat?
The Bucks have lost 5 of their last 6. Dating back to before the hiatus. They've lost 2 or 3 here. But it feels like this is going to be a different game for Milwaukee. Budenholzer says it's going to be a different game. Obviously, Giannis and all the starters sat the second half last game when they lost outright as an 18.5, 19-point favorite, the biggest outright upset in the NBA in the last 25 years. The quotes from Budenholzer is our team's going to look more normal today. Bledsoe expected to be back on the floor at the point for the Bucks as well. So we have a motivated Milwaukee team in theory, and the Bucks team that is likely to be healthier than they've been at any point so far in the bubble. That's not the case for Miami, they fought without Jimmy Butler the other night. They fought, dug, and Dragic played great, and they hit a bunch of shots down the stretch, and then Dragic hurt his ankle. Right, I think there was in the final minute. It doesn't look like he's going to go today. In fact, I'm just seeing he has been ruled as out. And without Dragic and Butler, the Heat are not a team I'm interested in. One guy's a spark plug for the starters, one guy's a spark plug off the bench. That we do without both of them today, and I think that is a big loss against a Bucks team that certainly, in theory, has something to play for.
Yeah, I agree. we keep talking about how they kind of locked up the 1 seed, but they're only 4.5 ahead of Toronto, so they technically have not. And it doesn't matter a ton probably because there's no home court. But I think what does matter is they're off back-to-back losses. And as you said, Teddy, biggest point spread upset in the past 20 years in the NBA. And I'm sure they heard a little bit about that. I mean, and if not, they know they were a big favorite. And it just was a bad performance. That's the great thing about the point spread. It's a barometer if you achieve or underachieve. And that was the biggest underachievement we've seen in a while. And that stat about their recent form is really fascinating because they still have the best record in the league, Tony, at 54-14. So, Tony, do you think they bounce back with some motivation today?
Oh, I think that it can't get any worse than it was. I mean, you're talking about a Bucks team with the best record in basketball that was a 19.5 point favorite against a Nets team that weren't they playing without 8 of their best players too? I mean, it was a bunch of starters. There's a bunch of injuries, and essentially, if you want to capsulize the season as a whole, this game, I mean, Teddy's right. I mean, I told you last time that I didn't trust the Celtics when they were playing the Heat, and it's every day changes everything, doesn't it? One day, one game, one moment. I don't want to be that one that overreacts, and I won't overreact in this. I'm not going to lay the 9 with the Bucks, but I'm betting that they play a heck of a lot better than they did against the Nets. And I think this is a situation where they not only win, they can be impressive and win, and all that's forgotten.
Yeah, and Ski, do you think this is a situation, even if you're not involved in this game, you kind of watch and take a wait-and-watch approach? Because if the Bucks don't show up today, especially with a shorthanded Miami team, as Teddy mentioned, boy, it'd be hard to trust them going forward. What are your thoughts, Ski?
Yeah, it would be hard to trust them going forward. I don't think good teams like this like to really have back-to-back really bad performances. So I think some of these guys will come to play. And Miami without Jimmy Butler and Dragic, I think that's a little too much for me. I mean, initially I wanted to take the points with Miami, but I could still see a Milwaukee bounce back. So I would take the pass approach and just wait it out and see.
Yeah, I'm staying off this game too, but I am kind of leaning towards Milwaukee here. I do feel like if they're going to have a statement game or a bounce back game, it's this spot. I like the back-to-back loss angle and the fact they were embarrassed in that last game. And Teddy, you've touched on it. If you want to come, winning might not be important, but current form is, and you got to figure at some point they want to pick their spots and have some good efforts. Rob Vino, what are your thoughts on this other matinee here? Right now, I'm seeing the Pacers. The Bucks about a 9.5 point favorite. By the way, the Pacers have gone up to 2 in some spots. Is what I wanted to mention. A little bit of late money coming on Indiana. It's now up to 2 in some spots over the Suns. It was 1.5 when we discussed it a few minutes ago. Right now, though, the Bucks are holding 9.5 solid. Couple books have 10, though. I have seen a few 10s out there.
Just for what it's worth, I'm seeing 10s popping up all over the place right now.
Starting to see 10s, so that's moving as well. So we got a little money coming in on both favorites because, I'm seeing a lot of 2s start to pop on the Pacers here, and we're seeing some more 10s pop. So, viewers, if you do like the Bucks, sportsbooks obviously listening to this show as we're kind of leaning there, I think, a little bit with our motivation angle. So by the time, Rob, you're done, it might not be 9.5 anymore. It might be 10. I'll let you quickly get in your thoughts in case the line's moving.
Yeah, I keep scanning the screen over to my right here, guys, to see if I can pick up Teddy's leans package, but it's not available at WagerTalk right now. If you got a lean on Milwaukee, Teddy, I want to know right now because I don't want to lay 10.5, 10 minutes from now. Steve, you said pick your spots, and Teddy quoted some of what Mike Budenholzer said, and some of what he said was that this is where the game that they're going to use to start getting better for the playoffs. So I think this might be the start of the Milwaukee run. Add to the addition of Bledsoe at point guard, the fact that Lopez is back at center here today. They're really is healthy today, and they're going to go hard with the starters. So that's an advantage for them. The Goran Dragic, I just want to hash that out a little bit further because the numbers he's put up in these 3 games so far, guys, are really significant for this Heat offense. 20 of 22 from the free throw line in just 3 games. So you can count on him for about 7.5 points from the free throw line per contest. He scored 58 points overall in 3 games. That's almost 20 a game, and he was 20 plus in 2 of the 3. That's just a lot of offense to lose combined with Jimmy Butler's leadership, his offense, his defense. I can see why Milwaukee's this steep of a favorite, and if they really do come to play, there's also, this may be a very minimal angle, very minimal. but it might also be some fuel for Milwaukee, a team that is looking to play a little bit better right here. They haven't beaten the Heat this season. You don't necessarily want to step into a potential playoff matchup with a team that's beaten you 3 straight times. And if they beat them here shorthanded, it would really get inside Milwaukee's head. So I think all of the motivational angles point towards the Bucks here.
And by the way, guys, we're going to get to the Portland-Denver game here in a moment, but that line's jumping. I'm now seeing the Blazers go for 4 to 4.5, and the total just dropped a full point in some spots. So I think some guys might be out for the Nuggets if y'all want to dig into that here.
Paul Millsap.
Is it Millsap?
Paul Millsap, Barton, and Harris.
Wow. Yes, I knew so. You can tell when the board starts lighting up like this as we're doing this show live that something's going on. Yeah, Millsap out. Mike Venture right there in the chat. Put it up. We got some great viewers. Hey, guys in the chat, throw that information out. You know, we're professional handicappers, but I know many of you in the chat room, too, are full-time handicappers and do a great job as well. So that's why it's a group effort here. We all win together. You know, we have one common enemy, and that's the bookmaker. Not an enemy. One adversary, I should say. I don't like using the word enemy. We all know
it's true. Because the bookmakers aren't our enemy because if they don't exist, we can't bet.
Good point. Good point.
You know? Yeah.
And the square public bettors are our ally for sure because they allow the bookmakers to continue because I know everybody here on this panel has beaten them on a consistent basis over the last couple of decades. Plus, we have some former bookmakers on the shows on and off, including one on this panel, but I don't know what the statute of limitations is, so we won't get into that, even though he self-admitted it a few shows ago. With the money line part, with the teaser angles.
Yeah, I was a bookie. That's how I got into this business. I used to be a bookie in Ann Arbor. That's a lifetime ago, my friend. I'm not embarrassed of it.
Well, I was laughing though, Teddy, because I think that was Monday's show. We talked about the teasers. Sunday's baseball show that I did with Dave Koken and Matt Josephs. We talked about parlays, and Dave Koken said, "quote I got a new car every other year due to the parlay bettors." And he said these were nice cars. They weren't.
Yeah, Koken too got to start booking. Yeah.
So it's funny, but yeah, hey, look, guys, you're right. I mean, you need people to win and lose. It's supposed, the perfect balance. Bookmaker has balanced action. They don't care if you win. Of course, it doesn't always work that way. But yeah, I mean,
really,
the square bettors, the public money is who I love because that gives us some good numbers to chomp on. Let's get to some of these evening games. First, a reminder, everybody out there, WagerTalk.com, daytime and nighttime best bets. Rob Vino's got an early tip going here in about a half hour. I've got a daytime baseball best bet at 4 p.m. Eastern, which goes in 30 minutes. No basketball for me tonight. So if you want my top play, get that 4 p.m. baseball winner. Teddy's got best bets at WagerTalk.com for tonight. Tony's got a 3-pack. Ski's got some best bets, including a WNBA winner, 11-4 run this season, the WNBA. And this is an NBA tip-off show, so we don't give WNBA a lot of talk, but there are some winners out there as well. WagerTalk.com. And then, of course, use that promo code for a full 7 days for $69. Week 69. Week, WEEK 69. Week 69. 7 days all sports from each and every capper that you want. Use it multiple times. WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, Week 69. Before we get to that Denver game, let's look at the next one on the schedule here, Teddy. It's actually the early evening start that we have each and every night at 6:30 Eastern. And this one is on TNT, I believe, tonight. Another national TV game. Clippers, Mavericks. Clippers right now about a 4.5-point favorite. Total 231.5. What are your thoughts on Clippers, Mavericks, Teddy Covers?
So my very first lean for this game was to look at Dallas plus the points. If you watch the Mavs against the Kings the other day, there was a real will to win in that contest. Dallas didn't shoot well. They didn't play well. They were never in sync offensively, but they dug down on both ends of the floor and won that game. And talked about it afterwards. Luka, I think we played one of the worst games ever, and we won. We didn't play good. We still hung in there. We helped each other and never give up. I'm proud of the win. It's the type of thing a team like Dallas can build off of after their late game struggles early, and they play defense down the stretch, would matter even more. Then I started looking for some Clips articles, and boy, everybody on the Clips. And, I found a Paul George quote. I found a Kawhi Leonard quote, all talking about we got to stop Luka. It's my, Kawhi's like, it's my job to shut this guy down. Of course, these two teams are likely to meet in the first round. The Clips coming off something of a no-show game, and that quote had me very reluctant to stick with my initial lean for Dallas. If I was going to play anything, I would look at the under in this contest, because we know what the Clips want to do for Dallas, and if they're taking this game seriously, the under, the Mavericks pace not likely to be what it's been. So talk myself out of the side. The lean here is towards the under.
Yeah, Teddy, I'm staying away from this game, and motivation was the big question for me for both teams. Clippers now 1-2 in the bubble. They're half a game ahead of the third spot Nuggets now, but they're still 6 behind the Lakers. That's obviously a done deal. I guess the question becomes they don't want to fall to that 4 seed. Tony, they're 2.5 ahead of the Jazz in the 4 seed. That'd be the only risk if they do care about seeding, which I'm not sure they do or not. What do you think, Tony?
I think you both have covered this spot on. I have a lot of questions coming in this game. I've been a big Dallas fan, but watching the last 2 games, I'm a big Luka fan as well. However, Luka's young, and he's made so many poor decisions with the ball in his hand during both of his games that a veteran wouldn't have made. So, and that's pretty easy to say. He's a pretty talented guy. He was first guy that young to do a 30-20-10, 21 years old and change, right? A 30-20-10, 30 points, 20 bounds, 10 assists, but took overtime to get there. But still, he got there. The Clippers, they win games defensively. You guys said it. If I'm going to lean in this game, it's going to be the under. These two probably meet first round of the playoffs, and the Clippers own a 3-0. I think they're 3-0 in the last 3 matchups against Dallas and Luka. So a lot of favor here of the Clippers. If they're motivated and they want to win, they not only win, I think they win by margin. But I still have a lot of questions. The easiest way for me to go here is like you two did, and that's the under.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the Clippers have the 4th best record in the NBA despite being 1-2 in the bubble. Still the 4th best record overall. So it's not like this team can't play well. It's just, we've all had that feeling that coming into the bubble, they just weren't one of the more motivated teams. Ski Profit, right now you look at the Mavericks, they basically locked up the 7 seed. They're 8.5. Well, they have locked it up. They're 8.5 ahead of the 8 seed. But they're 2.5 behind the Rockets in the 6th spot, and they're 2.5 on the 5 spot. So, right now, whether they're 7th or 6th makes no difference for the most part. And either way, they're avoiding the Lakers until the conference finals. Do you trust the Mavericks going forward, Ski? Ski, you with us? He was in and out there a little bit. Rob, I'll throw it to you first in case Ski comes back. Hold on, Ski. We'll get Rob in, and then we'll get you back in. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what's been said ahead of me. Tony and Teddy pretty much covered anything I could have covered here. I think the more you watch of Luka Doncic, the more you see that there are times on the offensive end where he gets the basketball and he's a little bit headstrong. And you can tell it's not coming out. He's going to shoot no matter what. And a lot of times in key situations, like Tony pointed out. And it's because there's no third option on this team, guys. If it's not Doncic, if it's not Porzingis, it's nobody. Tim Hardaway Jr. is having a horrible time in the bubble right here. They're going to lose Seth Curry for this game today. I believe he's out, another long-distance shooter. But there's just no support, at least none at this point in time that it looks like Luka trusts. The Kawhi quote that Teddy pointed out is probably key because when an all-star defender, when an MVP defender wants to put it on his shoulders to shut somebody down, I'm going to put my money on that guy. And that guy today is Kawhi Leonard. Can't disagree with the under. I'd be there, probably more so than the game, but I think, it's a correlating deal here, Clippers and under.
Yeah, and we don't talk a lot of daily fantasy. I don't even know how many I haven't looked, guys. You can weigh in, but I don't know how many player props are even putting out on these games. It's not something I mess with in general, but if that is good information if you're looking for some under props, maybe for Luka if they really want to shut him down. And then of course with the daily fantasy, I'd be maybe a little more cautious with him today. I think that's the big takeaway for those that are locking in their lineups here in the next hour or so for the daily fantasy. We do have one more nighttime game here, Lakers-Houston. Hopefully we'll get Ski Profit back because his Lakers are playing tonight in the underdog role. Best record in the West as a dog. Just a reminder that we do have some daytime games tipping off here in about exactly 30 minutes or so. Rob Vino has a strong daytime NBA best bet. I'm passing NBA, but I've got a strong baseball daytime best bet. They both go in 30 minutes at WagerTalk.com. And then, of course, Teddy and Tony and Ski all have strong nighttime winners as well for the clients. Rob's got some nighttime best bets also. WagerTalk.com. But the best deal is the $69 week of all sports. And you have to have this promo code WEEK69, WEEK 69. Gets you $50 off the price. It's normally $119. It's just $69 for a full 7 days. Baseball, basketball, hockey, NASCAR, everything any handicapper releases you get, and you can use it for multiple cappers. By the way, speaking of NASCAR, I want to give a shout-out to my co-host on the NASCAR show every week. Rocky Atkinson has a rare 5% best bet going at sportsmemo.com tonight. I told Rocky I'd let all the viewers know. Rocky has a strong 5% going at sportsmemo.com. So use that package. That's normally $40. Get everything for Rocky for $69 for 7 days with week 69 and any of the cappers, including ourselves. WagerTalk.com, sportsmemo.com, week 69, fantastic value. Let's look at the nightcap. I'm going to bring Ski back in. Ski, before we get to the nightcap and your Lakers, any thoughts on that Portland-Denver game? I'm sorry. Actually, we got Portland-Denver still. Let's get to finish up Clippers. We talked a little about it. That's why I forgot we hadn't covered it. Ski, anything on that Clippers-Dallas game this evening?
Well, I didn't hear what anybody said, so if I repeat, forgive me. I'm not quite sure what we get from the Clippers, but the Mavericks haven't looked good at all. And looking at the Mavericks, I just
sums it all up.
I was looking at the Mavericks too.
He was dumbfounded by the Mavericks.
Yeah, Tom, they can defend extremely well.
You got to kill him. Yeah,
it's all right. Yeah, okay. Ski, log back in like you did before. We'll get this fixed. We got time still. Yeah, so, guys, what we're going to do is we'll look at this game. I kind of touched on it, but I forgot we didn't dig into it. Was the Blazers and Nuggets. Ski actually gave us some good info earlier that Millsap is out. That's why this line has gone from 4 to 4.5 in the last few minutes. Portland now, a team, Teddy, that had been the dog the last 2 games, including a great 5% best bet winner for me the other night over the Rockets, is now a 4.5-point favorite. So, although I liked them the other night, I don't like the favorite dog rule reversal tonight, so I stayed off this game. What are your thoughts?
Millsap's not worth anything to a point spread at this stage. I mean, it's when I think of Paul Millsap, I think of him and Horford in Atlanta, like single-handedly taking really bad Hawks teams to the Eastern Conference semifinals. And both those guys are a shell of what they were. But Millsap in particular is I don't think he's worth anything to spread. There was some thought in this game that Gary Harris or Will Barton would play. Neither guy is as well. They both were downgraded out. There's still some chance that Jamal Murray's going to play. But it's a Nuggets team that shot, 55% from the floor. They shot 66% from 2-point range yesterday.
Yeah.
Hit 14 threes, had 86% from the free throw line. I mean, the Nuggets made a lot of shots. Second of back-to-back, 3rd and 4 against a hungry Blazers team might not be so easy for Denver this time around. And I think the point spread is certainly reflective of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Portland team that's off back-to-back games as a dog. I mean, they either covered or pushed the Celtic game, depending on the number. I, of course, was involved in both those past 2 games. I was on the Celtics blowing the big lead, but then I loved the play against Houston, the last spot. Tony, what do you think of the Blazers now as a 4.5-point favorite? It's the biggest favorite they've been in the bubble so far.
Well, I'm of the school that I truly believe that the Blazers will get better with each passing game. They're never going to be great. They're never going to be good defensively. But the bigs help them tremendously on the perimeter. They don't have to sag. They can play a little more aggressive. The Portland backcourt, I'm saying, and Teddy, he spoke to what I would say in this game, and that is that Denver, I don't think Denver's played to their MO. I don't think they've played to their skill set or what they're supposed to be. They're really supposed to be a traditional basketball team, inside outside, with the guard play that they have and the big and Jokic they have, and they're supposed to be more defensive. And I haven't seen much other than their big getting what he needs to get to help this team. There's just too many injuries, too many question marks. I can't touch it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt with this game as well, and that's another reason I'm personally passed into the NBA for Thursday. Rob Vino, what are your thoughts on this game? This one, by the way, tips off 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, local TV only. Blazers right now, Rob, 4.5-point favorite. As I mentioned, it was 3.5, went to 4, and went to 4.5 a few minutes ago. Total opened as low as 230, went up to 232.5 in some spots, now back down to 231.5. So we have seen a lot of movement on the total. Rob Vino, any thoughts on Blazers, Nuggets?
Yeah, I'll go back real quick to expand on what Teddy said about Paul Millsap. And guys, we know that there's always a line reaction, whether incorrect or correct, to a name being out of a game. Paul Millsap's out. Oh, shit, got to go play under. Why? Why you got to play under if Paul Millsap's out? I'll tell you what he's done in 3 games so far in the bubble. He scored 7 points, only played 16 minutes yesterday, so maybe he's been ailing anyway, right, guys? Maybe he was getting a little bit sore. better to rest him today. But prior to that, he picked up 17 was his high against OKC, and then he scored 8 in the other game. So Paul Millsap, offensively speaking, has not been worth much whatsoever to the Nuggets point totals, which, as Tony said, have been excessive here. They've kind of done a 360, become more of an offensive team than a defensive team. I'll give you some quick defensive numbers. Allowed 126 to San Antonio, 49.5 from the field, 37% from three, 27 free throws. And here's probably their biggest, I'll call it bugaboo so far through 3 games. They're allowing a lot of free throws to opponents. 27 in that game, 31 to OKC, 37 to the Miami Heat. But besides the 126, OKC got 113 off them. Miami got 125 off of them. They allowed 55.5% shooting to Miami. The Thunder shot well from 3, 41%. I mean, none of the defensive numbers add up. I'd be remiss. My youngest son would kill me if I didn't mention Michael Porter Jr., Mizzou made. Kid covered him in high school, told me about him in high school. So Michael Porter Jr. has been phenomenal, guys, kind of taken over here. And Jokic had some real high praise in quotes about the young kid. So with him starting to feel his way in as an offensive scorer, that can only help Denver as time goes on here, as games go on. Gary Harris Jr. not playing certainly helps that Portland backcourt because he's the best perimeter defender that Denver has. If Jamal Murray happens to get in there and play, he'll probably be limited. Don't know what he could contribute, but I still think that this game could probably get over. And if on the side, I think that Portland's the right side here. They're just showing tremendous grit. Not that Denver isn't, but Portland really showed up big the other night against Houston to continue on here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it transitions into our last game of the evening. You know, Portland, of course, had that nice upset of the Houston Rockets the other night. That was the 5% best bet for me. It didn't surprise me. We mentioned it on the show here. We had some leans that way. But, yeah, it's hard to know what to make of Portland for me tonight. But, yeah, the odds makers and the public are definitely pricing that the Blazers are becoming alive here because they're now up to 4.5. By the way, in game here, the Kings have pulled away from the Pelicans. They're now up by 15 early midway fourth quarter. 128 now up by 17, 128, 111. The game has already gone over the total, guys, with 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That's what we call the business an easy over. And that's the best bet of all, right? And that's why the public loves overs, because you can win the game. Now they just have to hope, Teddy, that the lights stay on.
Sure. Yeah.
5 minutes to about 2 minute mark, I think, and it's official.
No funny business down at Sam Boyd Stadium for the Wisconsin game.
The lights have to stay on in the bubble, right? And unlike UNLV, yeah, that's exactly right. It just shows you never tell your chickens till they hatch. Even if you have an over winner with 7 minutes to go, it could technically still not win. Hey, but at least you can't lose. But yeah, right now that in-game Kings crushing the Pelicans and the over is already cashed. All right, guys, one last game here. Ski Profit, we lost there because we weren't able to bring him back in. So I'm sure Tony here in a moment will give Ski some love and his Lakers. But I'll start with you, Teddy. Let's look at the nightcap here. Lakers, Rockets. It's obviously a game the networks were really excited about. It's on TNT at 9:30 Eastern. But will they get what they want? The Lakers are right now 3.5-point dogs. So obviously the odds makers are saying some guys are not playing.
LeBron's not playing.
LeBron.
Hugh, this has been a 5-point move since LeBron was announced as out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Despite the fact that we don't know if Russell Westbrook is going to play
for
Houston. And despite the fact that the Lakers are coming off a complete no-show game, where if you read the quotes afterwards, there wasn't a sense of panic, but there was a sense of, hey, our offense sucks right now. We've had 3 of our worst 4 offensive games of the season here in the bubble, and let's figure this out. So even without LeBron, there might be a surprising sense of urgency for LA tonight, potentially, even though it is clearly a Houston spot. But again, we don't know yet. Westbrook is now downgraded to doubtful, and I'm not excited about laying points with the Rockets against the Lakers with Westbrook not in the game.
Teddy, do you think this line is pricing Westbrook out since he's doubtful, and how much would it move if we got definitive answer one way or the other? It would obviously move a lot more if they say he's playing, I guess, right?
So my number for the game was pick'em. All right, that's with LeBron and with Westbrook. Yeah. LeBron's absence may be worth a point more than Westbrook, maybe. So that would be Lakers -1.
Got you. Tony.
Houston -1. And we're seeing Houston -3.5, 4 right now. Again, that's my numbers.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, what would you say as far as what the players are worth and how this is being priced?
I like Teddy. I priced this game about a pick 'em too. That's with LeBron. And I played this game and got 2 points early. Okay, it was 1.5. I got a 2, and I grabbed it.
You got Lakers +2.
I got Houston +2.
Houston +2. Okay, I want to. Yeah,
Houston +2.
Okay,
and then my parameters on this were Houston. I thought Houston was good. I thought I would play them minimally at up to -2. Without LeBron, I'm like Teddy. Even without LeBron, though, it's still only about a -4. Anybody but Houston, guys. Without LeBron, again, I'm going to reiterate. I don't believe LA has a guy who can handle the basketball and run this offense, other than LeBron. Rondo maybe a little bit, but he's not even playing. If it was anybody but Houston, if LA was playing anyone that was capable defensively, then I would hit them hard. But I'm not hitting Houston hard. Much like that, I'm not hitting Houston hard because of other question marks. There's just so many question marks. But as is in this bubble right now, it's hard to like. For me, it's impossible to like LA without a ball handler.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Tony, this line is now hitting 4 in some spots. So if you're going to hedge out, or if you haven't yet, wait and get that +4 with the Lakers, because it's not even 3.5 anymore in some spots as we're doing this live. And of course, we are live every weekday, 3 p.m. Eastern. It just shows the value of watching this show live. We've got several hundred viewers watching us live right now on Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope. Thank you to all the viewers out there in the chat room. It's been lighting up today. We're going to get better each and every week about getting your questions in the chat room as we get the format of this show nailed down. And, of course, you can always watch the replay before game time on YouTube as well. But once again, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern live here on WagerTalk TV, NBA tip-off. And then, of course, 2 p.m. Eastern live, the baseball show Monday through Friday. And then at noon Eastern this weekend, baseball bonus show. So be sure to check in noon Saturday and Sunday as well. Matt Josephs will be hosting that. Mid-Major Matt in the chat room right now chiming in. Also, one last promo for WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, promo code WEEK69. Gets you 7 days all sports for $69.
Can I mention something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we mention? We'll give some love to the Prez. He's on a 14-0 Major League Baseball run. 14-0, and he's got a big five percentage.
See, Rocky let me know. They told me Rocky had an NBA play at SportsMemo.com. Rocky Atkinson, but Prez, wow, 14-0 baseball run.
14-0 MLB.
Yes, that needs to be told.
Yeah.
Prez is such a humble guy.
And then real quick, we were asked about who we might look at in DFS.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Westbrook doesn't play. You look at Danny House or you look at Austin Rivers. That's the two that stand out to me. House started the other day and ended up put up 17 points. And
I'll take House. Yeah.
Say, who do you like, Tony? You like House there?
I over the two. Not that House is going to. I like House. That's all I'm going to say.
Rob, I don't think, Rob, you don't do much with the daily fantasy, do you? You and I kind of stay away from that, I believe.
Yeah, I don't, Steve, but I would say that, if Anthony Davis doesn't score over 35 points in this game, Tony, if I'm remembering right, when Houston first announced, when they made the trade of their big guy and they first announced they're going all small ball, I think that Friday night was a national game against the Lakers.
Yep.
And we did a show that night, and I think the thinking was this Laker lineup, how could Houston contend? And Houston won that game, I think, straight up over the Lakers that night, or covered. It was a real good game. So it's certainly the two different styles. You could make cases for both sides here. There's just no way Anthony Davis should be stopped in this contest from scoring. However, if I'm the coach of Houston, and I'll just put coaching shoes on right now, I'm going to press the heck out of the LA Lakers because, like Tony said, who's bringing the ball up? I mean, I'll hound Danny Green. I'll hound anybody they put out there. Quinn Cook, it doesn't matter. And see if they can get the ball to Anthony Davis. So from that perspective, Houston's got some fundamental edges. From the other side, obviously, LA has some fundamental edges. I don't think this game could get over the total, though, guys. I mean, I won't play a Houston game under. Yeah, just against my nature. But boy, oh boy, 225.5 with a Laker team that hasn't shot better than 40% in 3 of their 4 games. Thank God for myself. The only game they did was a game where I had them over the total. But there's just too many counter arguments in this one for me to play side or total.
Yeah, I mean, Houston was initially a 2.5 point dog. Now it's as high as +4, 3.5, -3.5, -4. So we're talking about take out 0, obviously, it's technically, I guess, a 5.5 point move, but substantial move there. The total was as high as 230 initially, now 225.5, as you mentioned.
I can hedge.
Yeah, although I did see, by the way, guys, I did see some 224s out there the last hour or so. So it's actually gone back up to 225.5. So it did drop 6 points at one point. So side and total have moved 5 to 6 points in this game. So definitely some uncertainty through the week. So we're not going to get to the in-game wagering because we ran over because we had some just great information. But Ski dropped off. And isn't it a coincidence, Tony, that he did drop off? Because I will give Tony credit, just for the record. His ultimate in-game, his in-show hedges paid off already as he covered the spread against the Sixers to beat Ski. But he also got one game closer to beating Teddy with the Wizards do not win a game. Teddy, you got
the Wizards. I said the Wizards would cover.
Our bet's not that.
Their games are 3 out of 5, and they covered one yesterday. So I don't feel. I thought I might get the straight up win in that game. I was really hoping for it so I could laugh at Tony today. But
our play.
I was saying that wasn't the one you were banking on to win the bubble long wager. Anyway, you got 4 to go still.
The Wizards are going 0-8.
But so the viewers out there, we still have a live. We do technically have a live in-show wager still because Teddy's got the Wizards win one of these final 4 games. Tony's got they do not win one of these final 4. But he got a nice 2-0 hedge yesterday. He got one closer to that, and he beat Ski, who has disappeared because
I was afraid. I was afraid he was going to have to mortgage his house.
Well, what was it, a 9-point win? Well, first of all, guys, the line was 10.5. They won by 9, but Ski gave you 13. So
he gave me 14, and I said, "I love you. I'll take 13."
And it paid off. Lucky 13 paid off. So viewers out there, we'll be back tomorrow, Friday, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, live here for NBA Tip-Off. There's no weekend show, so come in tomorrow, Friday. We're going to be slammed because maybe we'll look a little bit at the weekend as well, a little bit of a bonus look into the weekend game. So Friday's show is always huge. NBA Tip-Off, 3 p.m. Eastern, live here on WagerTalk TV. And one final reminder, Week 69, fantastic promo code. Gets you 7 days of all sports from any and all cappers. You can use it multiple times. Get every one of us, Teddy Covers, Tony Finn, Rob Vino, myself, Steve Merrill, Ski Profit at WagerTalk.com. It also works at SportsMemo.com. Week 69, 7 days all sports, $69. Back tomorrow, Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, live here on WagerTalk TV. Thanks, guys. Great show as always.
Let's go make the boss some money.